Is The Hill a home run or is it a swing and a miss? Let's talk about this new baseball drama based on a true story. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass, and I'm here to talk to you about The Hill, which is coming to theaters on August 25th, 2023. It is a new sports drama that is based on the real life story of Rickey Hill. It's a story of adversity, it's a story of kind of following your dreams and overcoming all of life's obstacles. My hot take is, look, I think you should watch it. It was kind of between a rent and a watch, but I did really like this film. I thought it told an interesting story. I thought it told a great story about like all the obstacles that life can throw in front of you. And it just has a strong message and a ton of heart. So I'm going to tell you a little about the movie, a few things I like, a few things I didn't like, and then very, very quickly go into the ending. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the ending section. If you don't know what happens in this film, and you know what, you might not, but it is still based on a true story. So maybe you already know the story of Rickey Hill. Then I would turn it off when I get to the ending section. Before that, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler free. And I'll let you know when I get to those spoilers. So like I said, The Hill tells the story of Rickey Hill, who is this young kid. He's a preacher's son. He wants to play baseball. He has this gift for hitting. He just has this phenomenal swing. And it seems like life put every obstacle to get in the way of his dream, but he just has this like God-given amazing swing and this kind of need to play baseball. And so even though he starts off in like leg braces because his legs aren't developed correctly, even though he has a ton of different ailments and different problems, and he has a father who doesn't approve of his love of baseball. He keeps persevering. He keeps trying. Does he overcome all life's obstacles? Well, you have to watch the movie to find out. But things I liked about this movie. The first, look, I love the heart. This is definitely a movie that'll tug at your heartstrings. There was a lot of drama. There was a lot of kind of emotional scenes. There was a lot of adversity thrown at Rickey. And it definitely is a film that, like, if you like inspirational sports dramas, which I do, I love them, I am a sucker for them, then this is one that will pull at your heartstrings, and this is definitely one that you will enjoy. The second thing I love, look, I like the kind of depiction of the sport, depiction of baseball. They do a lot in this movie. Sometimes I have an inspirational sports movie where maybe a little bit of sports are shown, or they'll show brief glimpses. This one, you get a good amount of action. You get Rickey as a kid playing baseball. You get Rickey kind of growing up, trying to like make it into the majors, trying to play against the best competition. And then you have a really big like baseball type scene at the end that just, if you love the game or if you love sports in general, you will enjoy this movie. And the third thing I love, look, it's related to the heart. I love the drama. I love how this is a kind of story of adversity, story of overcoming obstacles and pursuing your dreams. It's just a really great story to watch and great story to follow. So I just love that there is so much thrown at Rickey in his pursuit of his dream and kind of the different ways he overcomes it and the way that he kind of like tries to power through. Now, does he make it? You have to watch the movie to find out, but he definitely leaves everything on the field. And the last thing I love, look, I like that this is a faith light movie. Like there is definitely a kind of faith message. It seems like Rickey was a like religious person, a church person. I mean, he was the son of a preacher, so it kind of makes sense. But I did also love that this wasn't like your inspirational faith-based movie. There is a faith message in here, and it definitely kind of drives the story. But I did like that it wasn't just like a purely faith is great, religion is great. Like it definitely shows some of the, you know, the ups and downs of religion, some of the kind of darker aspects. I mean, not like super dark, but the depiction of religion is kind of up and down. It works sometimes, it doesn't work, and other times I did like that it kind of showed both the positives and the negatives of it. And it also is not like super faith-based. I mean, there's definitely some faith in this movie, but it's not one that's like corny. It's not one that's over the top. It's not, if you're not a religious person, you probably won't even care that much. And if you are a religious person, you might get something out of it. So that being said, things I didn't love as much. The first, it's a pretty long story. And now Rickey Hill's life is pretty impressive and pretty amazing. There's a lot of adversity thrown his way, and it shows all of that. But you do spend a lot of time in the backstory getting the full picture of him growing up. It's about half the movie when he is younger, about half the movie when he is kind of college age. So you have about almost a full hour of his life growing up. And I think it was good to establish all that. I just think they could have maybe done it a little quicker. It felt like this film spent a lot of time in his past before we get to kind of like the main thrust of his baseball career. The second thing I didn't love as much, and look, I'm neutral on this because like I said, I love inspirational sports dramas. There's some corny writing in here. You would expect it. It's an inspirational sports movie. There's going to be some corny writing, but just kind of know that there's a little bit of like cheesy lines, but it's kind of expected in this genre of movies. And the last thing I didn't love as much, there's kind of an inconsistent tone at times. It's not bad, and maybe that's just how life is. Life has ups and downs, especially some of the characters. they have like very, very positive moments and very negative moments. And it kind of shifts often and shifts regularly. Most of it is around like a main character in Ricky's life, a main kind of influence in Ricky's life. And look, maybe that's just how life is. Maybe like no one's perfect. No people are perfect. People have positive sides, people have negative sides. Maybe that's kind of where this came from. But it was pretty weird because there were some very, very positive moments and then some very negative moments almost right after each other. So again, it's not bad. And like I said, I like this movie a lot. I think it's definitely a watch. So that is The Hill. It comes to theaters on August 25th, 2023. I definitely check it out if you are a fan of inspirational sports movies, or if you like baseball. This will be a movie that you're like, hey, if you just like interesting dramas about adversity, you'll probably like this as well. So I'm going to go into the ending now. So if you don't want to happen in this movie, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. But this is based on a true story, so maybe you already know. Maybe they really can't spoil a real life encounter, but just giving you a heads up. So The Hill follows the real life story of Rickey Hill, who is this kid that just has this like God-given ability to swing the bat. He is very, very good at swinging the bat. He is amazing at it. He seems to have a gift. He seems to have a touch. And that is basically all he wants to do. He loves swinging the bat. He loves hitting the ball. He loves baseball. But it seems like life has other plans for him. He has issues with his development. His legs are in braces. It seems like they never fully developed. So he's kind of walking in braces while he has this amazing ability to swing a bat. It's really impressive because he can't really use his full body, and yet he is knocking things out of the park. So he definitely has a skill, but will his body be able to catch up to it? You don't know, because he starts the movie in braces. He also has a father who is very, very, very religious. He is a preacher. He lives kind of like in the world of black and white. He is strict with his kids. He is strict with himself. And he wants Ricky to be a preacher because Ricky also has a gift for kind of memory and preaching. Like he can definitely spit out verses randomly. He definitely like knows the Bible and knows kind of like religion. So his father really wants him to be a preacher, but Ricky doesn't want to do that. Ricky wants to play baseball. That conflict happens basically throughout the movie. So eventually the hard nature of Ricky's father drives the family out of their hometown, and they eventually end up in Bowie, Texas, where they're able to start a new life. This whole like first part was interesting. It was a good introduction, and they introduced some main characters, but it also felt like a long way to establish that Ricky's dad is a kind of diehard religious person. He is strict. He does not waver, and that is what drove them out of this town to their new town of Bowie. Now in Bowie, life starts to get a little better. Ricky eventually outgrows his braces. The family can't afford much. They are very, very poor, but they are, they have love, they have respect, they have discipline, but they also do seem to love each other. And they aren't able to buy Ricky bigger braces. Like he kind of outgrows his braces. They are starting to kind of affect him more. And eventually he just kind of like, they just break. Like one of them breaks and he's like, well, I better take this other one off. And he is now able to walk. He still has a little bit of a hitch. He's still kind of growing into his body, but he now no longer has the braces. He's able to walk, and he tries out for the baseball team. Now, unfortunately, his dad will have none of this. His dad does not want to play baseball. His dad wants him to be a preacher. His dad wants to mold him in his own image. But Ricky, as a kid probably would do, decides to forge his dad's signature on the permission slip so he can play baseball. The coach goes over to Ricky's house to kind of like talk to his parents and kind of compliment how good Ricky is. He's like wants to talk to them about how he's hitting everything out of the park. He has this special gift. And his father's like, I never authorized him to play baseball. And the coach is like, no, I've got your permission slip right here. Like you signed it. And he's like, that's not my signature. And this was a really interesting scene because I loved kind of the way that these two characters interacted. The coach wasn't really in Ricky's life for a very long time in this movie. I'm sure he was in real life, but in this movie he was there for a brief moment. But the coach and the dad kind of don't butt heads because they're very respectful. But the coach basically says like, look, I was a preacher too. I preached for 13 years in the Panhandle. Like I can recognize a God-given gift when I see it, and your son has a God-given gift. I don't know why you would squish out that gift of God to kind of like make him pursue your own dream. And it was a very, very powerful scene because you got to see these two kind of like people who are both faithful. They're both kind of like religious, but they have very different views on life, and they are kind of like respectfully arguing. And the preacher kind of like, he doesn't overstep his bounds. He, thanks him, says God bless, and then leaves. Ricky's dad at this point is very upset. So he is about to punish his kids, but he realizes, I think, that his kids are going to do what they want to do. And he doesn't actually punish Ricky. He makes Ricky make a choice. He says, you have to choose either to pursue God's dream or your dream. He basically frames it that way. Like, are you going to be a preacher or are you going to be a baseball player? Rickey is very sad. Rickey is very sad about this. But the next day, he kind of like goes up to his dad and says he's going to do both. He's going to pursue them both because he like puts like a religion aspect into baseball. Like the baseball diamond, he like draws lines between the bases to make a cross. And he is basically going to like use his gift that he thinks is from God to like go out and play what he loves. So another character that was very, very important in the start, this guy named Ray Clemens. He was a person that kind of owned a junkyard. Early on in life, Rickey was hitting a rock with a stick, and he knocked a rock like a couple 100 feet, way farther than anyone thought he would, and he breaks Ray Clemens' windshield on one of his junk cars. Now, Rickey does the right thing. He goes and like apologizes, and Ray Clemens is like, "You hit that rock like over those trees from 200 feet there?" And he's like, "Yes, sir. Like, I'll work to pay this off." And he's like, "No, no, no. Like, I have an entire like junkyard full of cars and windshields that I couldn't sell even if I tried right now. But I'm running low on miracles, and you, sir, have a miracle." And so he kind of takes Rickey under his wing and starts to like tutor him. And so at the start, he is like an influence to like show Rickey that he should play baseball and like that he has a special skill. Now we fast forward to Rickey's kind of like high school life when he's trying to get into college, and Ray Clemens is there supporting him, helping him to grow. But again, Rickey has a lot of problems. He just constantly has problems. He complains about like issues with his back, issues with his legs. Like he's in constant pain, but he's powering through because he wants to play baseball. He hasn't seen a doctor because he knows a doctor is just going to tell him to stop playing. Well, eventually, Ray Clemens gets a scout out to one of his games. It's a big game. It is an impactful one. He is playing against one of his old rivals from growing up in Bowie, a really, really good pitcher who was kind of a jerk. And Rickey is playing great. He hits a big home run, but towards the end of the game, he's going for a fly ball, and his leg hits a sprinkler, and his ankle just like rotates and like shatters essentially. He gets the ball, he makes the play, but his playing days might be over. He kind of severs some tendons. His ankle is not doing well at all. So Rickey is kind of given a choice. Either he can do a full recovery and he'll be able to walk, or he can try to do a quick recovery to play baseball, and maybe he might not be able to walk again. And Rickey tries to like quit. He says, I don't want to risk walking. But Gracie, his girlfriend, who was an old flame from their very first town they ran out of, she reconnected with him when he was in high school. She kind of followed his career as he was growing up. She tells him that he needs to keep pursuing his dream. And so this convinces Rickey to kind of keep at it, keep playing, keep trying to make it to the majors. We also see a really sweet scene here because his dad had never really supported him in baseball, but we also see that his dad was reading about his injury and how to recover from it. So it seems like his dad is taking an interest. I don't know if he's trying to help him play baseball, but he is at least like showing interest in his son, showing that he is a good dad. His dad was a very interesting figure because he was very strict, very mean to his kids, but clearly he loved them and clearly his family loved him. It was strange because there would like be like one scene where he gets so angry at his kids because Rickey and his son lied to him, because his two sons lied to him and forged his signature. But then like the very next scene, the kids all like pool all their money and go to the store to buy like a hamburger and a soda for him for like a special birthday meal. Like, this is an amazing meal, a fast food hamburger and soda. And they give it to him, and he just has this like beaming smile on his face. Like, he is so happy. The family is so happy that he is excited. He tries to share the burger with them, but they're like, "Oh no, we are so full." So it is a very kind of up and down tone. When like Rickey finally gets his crutches off, his dad like takes them all out for ice cream, and they're like, "We can't afford that." He's like, "Don't worry, like, you distract the ice cream man, I will steal a gallon myself. This is a big night." So he definitely has kind of an up and down tone in this movie. And I liked it. Like, look, his dad is a complicated character. His dad is a difficult character. But you did see that, he has a very, very religious view, but he also clearly loves his kids and wants the best for them. Unfortunately, sometimes what he thinks is the best for them might not actually be the best for them. So Rickey has like one chance. He recovers and he's going to this like scouting event where the best scout in baseball is going to be. And he's going to compete against 200 of the other top baseball prospects to try to get a spot in the majors. Now, this would be tough for anyone, but Rickey has all these health issues as well. So eventually he's about to get cut. The scout doesn't seem to like him. I think he sees that Rickey has like some health issues, like he can barely run. He's still recovering. But Rickey is persistent, and when the scout's about to cut him, he says, "Look, I'll designate hit for both teams. Like, just let me show you what I can do." So Red, the scout, never one to like back away from a challenge, and never one to give anyone a break. Puts him up against some of the best pitching in the game. Like he goes up against some of the best college pitchers. Rickey still hits, and then he goes up against a MLB, like a pro pitcher. Now during this time, this is happening on a Sunday, and his dad has never actually seen his dad is a preacher first. He's always at church on Sunday, and so he can never see his son play baseball. But this day, because I guess it's such a big event, because his family is asking him, and also because like his church is basically empty, because I think everyone else is at the game too, he decides to like shut down his sermon and go see his son play. So he pulls up right when Rickey is going up against an MLB pitcher, like a real true MLB pitcher. And during this time, Rickey is kind of surprised by the speed, and then he gets hit by a pitch. He goes down. Red comes up to him and says, "You're done. Walk it off. Take your base." And Hill says he doesn't have to take his base. Like, if you're hit by a pitch, you can choose to take a base or you can stay at bat. And he wants to stay at bat. So his dad is finally out there. His dad is finally in the game. Rickey is facing a major league pitcher, and on this last pitch, he just crushes it. It goes out of the park. He hits a home run. He runs the bases. He gets picked up. He gets, kind of celebrated because of what he did. And his dad finally sees it. So it's a lovely, kind of wonderful, inspirational sports ending. Now, we do find out more about Rickey's life. He was picked up by the Montreal Expos, and he played in their farm team for 4 years. So he did make it. He made it to the major leagues, but he never played in the major leagues themselves. He played in the Montreal Expos farm team for 4 years, and then his back finally gave out, and he never played baseball again. So it is an interesting story because, look, like, he pursued his dream. His dream was to play baseball. His dream was to kind of like be in the major leagues. It doesn't seem like he ever did that. He was in their farm system. He was in their farm team. So he made it to a major league team. He made it, he showed everyone what he could do. He made it farther than most people ever do, but it cost him, right? Like it cost him his body. It cost him his like back, and he never played baseball after that time. But you do get an update during the film. You get some images of him in the Montreal Expos farm team, and then you also see a picture of him at the end where it says that he is living in I think Fort Worth, and is coaching Little League and teaching golf. So he still can play something. I guess golf and baseball are similar, so he's using that God-given swing to play golf. But it is a tough story at the end, right? I was kind of like a little saddened by the ending because he did everything he could to pursue his dream, and he never made it to the major leagues. But like I said, he made it farther than most people do. He never gave up on his dream, and he pursued it until he couldn't anymore. So that is The Hill. Like I said, I think you should watch it. If you like inspirational sports movies, you will definitely like this. If you like baseball, you'll like it. And if you just like, good dramas with a lot of diversity, you'll probably like it as well. It comes to theaters on August 25th, 2023. So check it out when it gets there. And thanks so much for watching. If you liked this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.